Hey guys, so I was just gonna go over some of the stuff from previous days for people who were quarantined or just still confused. This is the same stuff I went over in class Tuesday, Wednesday. So first, we're starting a unit on probability and statistics, and one of the first things we have to do is figure out how many possible outcomes there are for any given event, so that we can find the probability of it. So we're starting with the fundamental counting principle. So when you do two things, for example, roll a die and toss a coin, there's not like tons of different things that could happen. So for that, you could simply write out all the different possibilities. But there's a simpler version. I'm making a video. That's fine. A kid has anyway. Let me finish. Let me finish. This won't take me long. Uh, sorry. So there's a simpler way to do it. You can just multiply all the different possible things that could happen, like the number of options together. So in this case, there's 6 things that could happen when you roll a die, and there's 2 things that could happen when you flip a coin. So there's 12 total possible outcomes. That comes in handy when you have way more than 12, and it'd be a real pain to write them all out. For example, so if there's a restaurant and there's 6 kinds of meat, 4 kinds of bread, 5 types of condiments, and 5 types of cheese. Let's assume you can choose one of each. Well, then you can just take 6 times 4 times 5 times 5, which would give us 600. It's a lot of different sandwiches. So anyway, there you go. There's an option. Okay, here we go. So for license plates, Kentucky just recently changed it, but for a long time they did 3 numbers followed by 3 letters. So for each space, there's different options that they have for what could go there. So for each number, there's 10 options because you have 0 through 9. People always forget about 0. So for the first space, there's 10 options. Second space, 10 options, and third space, 10 options. For the letters, well, there's 26 letters in the alphabet, but fun fact, they don't use the letter O in license plates because it looks exactly like 0. So for each space where their letter goes, there's 25 different options. So you'd multiply by 25 for each of those, which I don't know what that is. All right, so that gives you 15,625,000 different options for license plates just in Kentucky. And if you'll notice, states with higher populations tend to have more letters or mixed up things or whatever, just to create more options if they expect to have more vehicles. So anyway, okay, this one's kind of tricky. So how many different ways can 8 paintings be arranged on a wall? Well, this, if you think about it, you gotta take it one spot at a time. So there's the first spot on the wall. You have 8 choices, but then you're gonna hang up a painting. So for the next spot, you only have 7 left, but then you hang up a painting in that spot. So for the next spot, you have 6 left, and that kind of continues down until you run out of paintings or spaces or whatever. 3, 2, 1. So one thing is that is there's an easier way to write that. So it's something called a factorial, where that's the same thing as saying 8 exclamation point. Those equal the same thing. So 4320. Basically, anytime you write a number with an exclamation point, it means that you take that number and multiply it by each consecutive one going down until you get to 1. But yeah, so anyway. That's fundamental counting principle. If you have questions in class, I can go over some of the problems from that assignment. I know there were some that I went over in class on Tuesday when we came back. So anyway, yep.